Hello, everyone. Good evening. How are you doing today? It's finally Friday night, and for today's version, I'd like to practice a bit of tongue twisters. So, pronunciation is one of my uh, most interesting topics. Well, it's one of my interests in general in any language, but I do think that Spanish language has very interesting topics and strange cases of pronunciation with different letters. So as you know, in English, we do have the case where one letter has two different sounds, correct? So right now I would like to talk about sound. This sound over here, this one over here. I'd like to talk about that one. So let's practice. As you know, tongue twisters are a great tool that would help us to improve our pronunciation. Why is that? Well, because our mind needs to recognize the patterns of language where we link, enlazamos, we link a letter with a sound and many letters with different sounds. So our brain is constantly doing this, correct? So while we read, we receive some information, and when we produce the sound, when we utter the sound, we are actually doing that link with our voices. So that's why it's quite important for us to acknowledge the different patterns of pronunciation that any language has. For example, sound k. So as we all know, sound with the sound k, we have we have the case where this sound and this letter, of course, are used with all the vowels, correct? So, as you might know, the k sound with letter C o la letra C, el sonido k con la letra C, solamente se produce con las vocales A, O, U. A, O, U. So, if we wanted to use this specific letter, si quisiéramos usar la letra C con las letras E, I, the sound would be like snake. That's why we need some helpers. So let's review the examples for sound with letter C. The first example I have over here is with vowel A, and it's casa. Repeat after me. Casa. Casa. Good. Our second example is coco. Coconut, right? So in Spanish, it's not that different from the original word in your language. So coco with vowel O. O. Coco. O. O. Coco. And the third example that we have here today is cuento. Cu. Cu. Cuento. So letter C cannot have a k sound with vowels A, E, correct? Let's review how we can actually make the sound k with A, E. Now, we need some helpers for this. And actually, its only purpose in the whole in the whole alphabet, or at least sound in Spanish, la letra Q, tiene un único propósito en la lengua española. Y es dar el sonido K con las vocales E, I. Ese es el único propósito de la letra Q en nuestro alfabeto. So, its only purpose in our alphabet, for at least the Spanish language, is to give the opportunity to the vowels E, I to have a K sound before them. Write this down. Write this down. The only purpose for letter Q to exist in the Spanish alphabet is to give a sound K to vowels E, I. Y lo repito en español, el único propósito de la letra Q en el alfabeto es dar un sonido K a las vocales E, I. And how do we make that happen? How do we read this? Do we read this like queso? So, E and I need a helper. And vowel U is the helper. Monse, you just told me that I don't need to utter the sound of U when I want to say queso. So why is it there? The answer to that question is I have no clue. I just know that in this specific case, el dígrafo Q, U, ayudan a la E y a la I tener un sonido K antes. So we just drop out the sound of U. Only the sound. Just the sound. ¿Vale? So it has to be written. In order to have a good orthography here, we have to write it down. So if you were to write QE, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. People will understand you. Yes, of course they will. But it's not correctly spelled. So be careful with that. Let's go to our examples. Queso. Queso. You see? Que de queso. Now this one. Who is it? Who is it? ¿Quién es? ¿Quién? Ki. Kiki. Ki. Like roosters do every morning. Kikiriki. Ki. Ki. Que. Ki. With ku, u. Together. So both of those letters, ku and u, give a k sound to e and I. Write it down, my friends. Write it down. All right, guys. So now let's review. We're going to the part in which we're going to practice with our tongue twister, correct? So here, this is a clock, right? And in Spanish, whenever we want to find out the time or when we want to express our ideas about the time, this is not to ask a question. Sorry about that. This is just to express a time clause. Cuando. Cuando. Repeat after me and link the word to the image over there. Cuando. 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 Now you. Te escucho. Cuando. Correct. Thanks so much. Now this guy over here is counting something, correct? Cuentes. 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 To count. When you count, cuentes. What's this? It's a storybook, right? The way we tell stories is quite interesting because we have to use a lot of words, right? That's why telling stories is a great strategy as well. But today we are with tongue twisters. So this is a storybook and stories are written in storybooks, correct? So cuentos. Story, cuento. Stories, cuentos. Cuando cuentes cuentos, cuentos, Cuentes cuando. Cuentes cuando cuentos. Cuentos cuando cuentes. Cuando cuentes cuentos. Cuenta. Cuenta. How much? ¿Cuántos? Cuentas. Tú cuenta. ¿Cuántos? ¿Cuántos cuentas? And this is the whole idea. This tongue twister is exclusively for sound. And it's about verb contar. Contar. Now, I hope that you get the images here because we are about to get to the interesting part of this live. There it is. Beautiful, isn't it? Cuando cuentes cuentos, cuenta cuántos cuentos cuentas. Porque si no cuentas cuántos cuentos cuentas, nunca sabrás cuántos cuentos sabes contar. Cuando cuentes cuentos, cuenta cuántos cuentos cuentas. Porque si no cuentas cuántos cuentos cuentas, nunca sabrás cuántos cuentos sabes contar. You see, even as a native speaker, you get confused with sounds. Cuando cuentes cuentos, cuenta cuántos cuentos cuentas, porque si no cuentas cuántos cuentos cuentas, and let me remove the banner. I'm so sorry about that. There you go. ¿Cuántos cuentos cuentas? Nunca sabrás cuántos cuentos sabes contar. Una vez más, once more. Cuando cuentes cuentos, cuenta cuántos cuentos cuentas, porque si no cuentas cuántos cuentos cuentas, nunca sabrás cuántos cuentos sabes contar. And now you are feeling your face all relaxed or tense. I don't know, I'm not sure, but in my case, I feel it a bit tense because I have to open my mouth in order to articulate properly the sound. So let's try again, slowly. Cuando cuentes cuentos, cuenta cuántos cuentos cuentas, porque si no cuentas cuántos cuentos cuentas, nunca sabrás cuántos cuentos sabes contar. Ah, faster, you guys. Cuando cuentes cuentos, cuenta cuántos cuentos cuentas, porque si no cuentas cuántos cuentos cuentas, nunca sabrás cuántos cuentos sabes contar. Good. Very, very good. All right, guys. So 3 things that we reviewed today. First of all, la letra C tiene 2 sonidos. El sonido K y el sonido S. El sonido S se da con las vocales E, I. That's the first thing. Second thing, para que las vocales E, I puedan tener el sonido K antes, necesitan el dígrafo QU. El único propósito de la Q en el alfabeto es dar el sonido K a las letras vocales E, I. Third thing, native speakers make mistake with sounds. And that's a reality. That's the third thing we review today. All right, guys. No, honestly, third thing that we reviewed today. En el dígrafo QU, the sound of U is dropped out. Okay? You drop the sound. You drop the sound. You don't make the sound of U, even if you use it. Let's review this example over here. Porque la U no suena. Se escribe, you write it, pero no suena. It doesn't sound. Okay? So the one giving the sound to E is Q. Remember that, please. All right, guys. Hope you had fun today. Thank you so much for joining me in this edition of Tongue Twisters and Pronunciation Tips. And well. Hope to see you soon. Remember to follow us on social media. There are a lot of TikToks being published with all kinds of Spanish tips, functional language and such. And well, have fun. Do enjoy your weekend, please. Bye-bye.